Imagine for a moment that there is another version of you, living in a parallel reality, following every choice you make, every path you decide to take. What if this version, which exists in a different timeline, was trying to talk to you, sending you signals? Sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, right? But quantum physics reveals that the reality we see is just one of infinite possibilities. Every decision you make, every thought that goes through your head can connect you with one of these countless realities. And in each of them, there is a version of you, some living incredible lives, others facing challenges you can't even imagine. All of them, however, have something in common, a deep and invisible connection with you. What if you could purposely tune into these alternate versions of yourself? What would they have to tell you? What kind of wisdom could they bring? Understanding that these parallel realities exist is not just a matter of being curious. It is a way of knowing yourself more and growing spiritually. When you begin to explore this connection, new ways of seeing your life, your choices, and your potential begin to emerge. Connecting with these versions of yourself can be a powerful thing to transform yourself, okay? As if it were possible to borrow the experience of a version that has already overcome the obstacles you face today, or learn from one that lives in perfect harmony with the universe. Showing the best you can be, each of these versions has something to offer, a different perspective, a valuable lesson, perhaps even a direction to follow. And as you align with them energetically, you not only change your own reality, but also open your eyes to a field of endless possibilities. So, today, you will discover the signals that these parallel versions may be sending you and how to connect with them. Let's dive together into a deep and transformative journey where understanding parallel realities can be the secret to opening the doors to a more conscious life. It's full of abundance and aligned with what you really came here to do. Parallel realities are a fascinating concept. From a spiritual perspective, they suggest that the universe is made up of infinite dimensions that exist at the same time. In each of these dimensions, there are different versions of ourselves, living lives that mirror the infinite possibilities that our thoughts, choices, and energies can create. They say that these various realities are born from universal consciousness. Every idea you have, every intention you place in the world generates a new branch in the universe, giving life to a reality where a version of you lives a unique story. In some, you may be living your life's dream. In others, facing situations shaped by the vibrations you emit at different times. Quantum physics comes with a vision that completes this. It proposes that the universe operates in a field of limitless possibilities. The concept of quantum superposition shows that tiny particles, and by extension, reality itself, can be in multiple states at once. This means that, at a very basic level, all possible realities already exist together. And it is our consciousness, with its choices and energies, that defines which of them we experience. It can be said, then, that having several versions of ourselves in different realities is not just an esoteric theory. It is something that makes sense on both the spiritual and scientific sides. These versions of us, living in different realities, are not isolated. On the contrary, they may always be trying to communicate with us, sending signals and messages that help guide our paths and decisions. But how do we notice these signs? How do you know if a version of you in another reality is trying to talk to you? Let's explore the most common signs that show this connection. Have you ever felt, at some point, that something seemed strangely familiar, as if you've experienced it before? This sensation, known as déjà vu, can be much more than a trick of the mind. It's often a sign that you're in tune with a parallel version of yourself. It's as if, for a moment, the barriers between realities disappear, letting you peek into an experience that another version of you has already gone through. Other than that, there are synchronicities, those coincidences that seem to align to be just chance. When you start to notice repeating numbers, symbols, or events, it can be a clear hint that a parallel version is trying to communicate. These synchronicities are like reminders that parallel realities are connected in ways that we don't always grasp at first. For example, imagine that you're thinking about changing careers and, out of nowhere, you start seeing the same symbol, perhaps a drawing or a word, in advertisements, social media, even in everyday conversations. This repetition could be a version of you in a reality where this change has already taken place, trying to show you a path. It's a call to pay attention to what's happening around you and reflect on what these signs might mean. Another strong way to perceive this is through dreams. Dreams are like doors to our subconscious, but they can also be windows to other realities. Tense dreams, the kind that seem real and stay in your head after you wake up, can be echoes of experiences lived by parallel versions of you. When you dream of a life that is different, but at the same time familiar, or meet people you've never met in real life, you may be accessing memories or moments from another version of yourself. Lucid dreams, where you realize you are dreaming and even control what happens, are even more special. In them, you can connect directly with these alternative realities and explore these other versions of yourself. The trick is to notice the details, the places, the people, the emotions. They can carry important messages, guiding you in your choices or showing something in your life that needs attention. For example, if you dream several times about a situation where you are living the way you always wanted, but you haven't gotten there yet, this could indicate that this reality already exists in another dimension and is closer than you think. Understanding these dreams requires a little reflection, perhaps even a pause when you wake up to meditate and capture what they are trying to tell you. There are also those moments when you feel out of place, as if the reality around you doesn't make sense to you. This phenomenon, sometimes called being out of time or space, can be a sign that you are, for a moment, in tune with a parallel version of yourself. This feeling of disconnection can come on suddenly, as if you don't quite recognize where you are or feel like you should be somewhere else. It may be weird, but it also shows that realities are crossing and your consciousness is adjusting to these different frequencies. Has it ever happened that you are in a place that you know well, but suddenly feel that something is out of order, as if there has been a jump between realities? This could be a subtle message from a version of yourself, inviting you to think about where you are and where you could be if you had chosen another path. Intuition is another sign that you can't miss. We've all had those moments when an internal voice pushes us towards something without a logical explanation. What if these strong intuitions were, in fact, a form of communication from a parallel version of you, trying to guide you on the right path? They come as an impulse that you can't ignore, okay? A feeling that you need to do something, even if you don't quite understand why. It's as if a part of you, in a reality where this choice has already been made, is giving you a nudge to act in a specific way. And there's more, unexpected changes in your behavior. When you start acting differently without really knowing why, could also be signs that a parallel version is influencing your current reality. Maybe you start to adopt new habits, become interested in different things, or change your routine without even realizing where this desire came from. This may be a reflection of a deeper connection with a version of yourself that is already experiencing these changes and is bringing this energy here. When you start to notice these signs of communication between your parallel versions, the next step is to learn how to align your energy to make this connection clearer and stronger. Tuning your vibration is something you can work on every day, bringing you closer to these alternative versions and bringing what they know into your present. Everything in the universe is energy, and this energy vibrates at different frequencies. Every thought, emotion, and action you have emits a unique vibration that resonates with certain realities. When we talk about parallel realities, we are talking about distinct vibrational states that exist together. A version of you who lives a life full of abundance and inner peace, for example, vibrates at a higher frequency, which attracts these good things. To align with this version, you need to understand that your vibrational frequency is not something fixed. It changes depending on what you think, feel, and do. Simple things like practicing gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion help raise your vibration. When you feed these feelings, your frequency rises, getting closer to versions of yourself that already live in balance. For example, if you set aside a little time every day to feel gratitude, you tune your energy into a reality where abundance is already natural for you. Something simple, but it can transform the way you live now. Raising your vibration is a process that doesn't stop, and the secret is consistency to maintain this alignment with your parallel versions. Creating daily routines that support a high frequency is essential. This can include meditation, exercise, eating mindfully, and even carefully choosing the words and thoughts you let dominate your day. Meditation, for example, not only relaxes the mind, but also clears those heavy frequencies that may be blocking your connection with higher versions of yourself. Eating natural and nutritious foods also helps, bringing well-being to the body and head, and leaving your energy more open to receive. The intention you put into these practices matters as much as the practices themselves. There's no point doing everything on autopilot. You need to keep in mind that you're aligning your energy with the version of yourself you want to bring here. Every habit you create is a step towards that reality you desire, like a bridge that connects your present to your greatest potential. On this path, meditation becomes a powerful ally because it takes you to states of consciousness where the barriers between realities become thinner. If you want more peace and harmony in your life, for example, you can imagine during meditation a calm place, feeling tranquility and lightness. Immerse yourself in this sensation as if it were already yours. Over time, this practice will align your vibration with this version of you, bringing this calm to your everyday life. But none of this will really work without you paying attention and being aware of what's happening inside you. It is essential to monitor your thoughts, emotions, and attitudes to ensure that they are in tune with the frequency you want to emit. Observing yourself helps you notice patterns that can trap you in a reality you no longer want. How about taking a few minutes every day to think about how you're feeling and what ideas are taking over your mind? Ask yourself, is what I'm feeling and thinking aligned with the version of myself I want to be? If not, adjust slowly, exchanging what weighs you down for something that elevates you. It is from this energetic alignment that you begin to pick up signs and messages that seem to come from a place that is both familiar and mysterious. Interpreting these messages requires a mix of awareness, intuition, and practice. When these signs appear, a dream that won't leave your head, a déjà vu that insists, synchronicities that defy logic, or intuitions that catch you off guard. The first reaction may be to doubt or become confused. The secret to understanding what they mean is to observe carefully and trust what you feel inside. Don't let these moments pass by like they were nothing. Write down what you experienced, think about it, and try to see the patterns that appear over time. For example, if you dreamed several times about a specific place or person, it could be a message from a version of you in another reality, trying to guide you towards something similar in your current life. You can also use meditation to go deeper into these signs. Focus on the sign or message you received and let your intuition show you the way. The meaning doesn't always come straight away, but your instinct can give you precious clues about what's behind it all. After capturing these signs, the next step is to bring what they teach into your real life. There's no need to rush into this. This integration can happen little by little as you understand what needs to change. Applying these messages from their parallel versions means opening your mind to new ways of thinking, feeling, and acting. If a version of you is pointing you down a specific path, it's worth thinking about how to adapt that advice to your everyday life. For example, if you feel a strong intuition to change career, even if it gives you butterflies in your stomach. It could be the push you needed to align your life with something bigger. Or maybe you feel a constant desire to explore a new hobby. This could be a version of you who has already mastered that skill, calling you to find more joy and fulfillment. The great value of bringing these messages into your life is how they can help you live in a more true and connected way with who you are. Every change you make, every decision you make based on these signs brings you closer to the ideal version of you that already exists in another reality. This process of alignment with your parallel versions is like a road to grow as a person and spiritually. Each new understanding, each adjustment to your way of being, each choice made from these messages takes you closer to a heightened version of yourself. This alignment not only accelerates your growth, but also opens your mind beyond what you thought possible. You begin to realize that the reality you are living now is just one of many, and that you have the power to choose which one you want to experience, depending on the energy you emit and the decisions you make. With every step you take, new doors open, showing you more pieces of who you really are. Aligning with your parallel versions is not just a way to find a more meaningful life. It's also a way to connect deeper with the universe, where all your versions live together in harmony. And by bringing these messages here, you are not just changing your reality, you are transforming yourself as a person, opening yourself up to a sea of possibilities for growth and fulfillment. So, every message you take, every sign you understand, every choice you make becomes a spark to create a life that shows who you are in all its layers. But how can you make this part of your daily life? First, it's important to be patient with yourself. It's not something that happens overnight. Sometimes the signs come in pieces, like a puzzle that you put together, little by little. The trick is to stay attentive and willing to listen, even when things aren't clear at first. Start by writing down everything that catches your attention. A different dream, a coincidence that makes you stop and think, an intuition that won't leave your head. Then, take some time to reflect on what this might mean for you now. A good way to go deeper is to bring these reflections to simple, everyday practices. For example, if you wake up with a dream that seems important, take a few minutes before starting the day to close your eyes and remember it. Ask yourself, what did I feel there? What does this remind me of in my life? If it's a synchronicity, like seeing the same number several times, try to notice what you were thinking or doing when it had happened. These short breaks can help you put the pieces together and understand what your parallel versions are trying to show you. And it doesn't stop there. Once you start to interpret these signs, the next step is to take action. It doesn't have to be a huge change all at once. Sometimes it's just taking a first step in the direction they're pointing you. If you feel that a version of you is encouraging you to take more care of your health, for example, you can start with a light walk or a healthier meal. If it's about a dream that you've put aside, maybe it's time to take that plan out of the drawer and give it a chance. The important thing is that each action, no matter how small, brings you closer to the energy of that version that already lives what you want. I've been through this myself, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story so you can see how it works. There was a time when I felt an emptiness that I couldn't explain. It wasn't anything I could pinpoint, but it felt like something was missing. Then I started to notice some strange signs, dreams that were repeating themselves with places I had never seen, but that seemed familiar. Other than that, there were moments when I felt a strong desire to do things that had never crossed my mind before, like writing or learning something new. At first, I thought it was just imagination, but I decided to pay attention. I took a notebook and started writing down everything, the dreams, the intuitions, the coincidences that appeared out of nowhere. Over time, I began to see patterns. The dream I had every week showed me in a calm place, close to nature, and I woke up with a peace that I didn't feel in everyday life. This made me think, could a version of me be experiencing this tranquility and want me to get there too? I started meditating on it, imagining this place, feeling this calm. Little by little, I brought little pieces of this energy into my life. I changed some routines. I started to value simple moments more, like a quiet coffee in the morning. It wasn't an instant transformation, but each step made me feel more connected to myself and the void. He disappeared, as if I had found a piece of me that was lost. This experience showed me that these parallel versions are not just loose ideas, they can be real guides. And the coolest thing is that you don't need to be an expert to start listening to them. The key? Just stay open, curious, and give space for this connection to happen. How about trying this today? Take a moment from your day, take a deep breath, and ask, what is a version of me who already lives what I want trying to tell me now? The answer may come in a dream, in an idea that appears out of nowhere, or even in a sensation that takes you by surprise. And if you want to go further, try bringing a little intention to the things you already do. When you go for a walk, for example, think that you are aligning your energy with a healthier, more vital version of yourself. When you sit down to meditate, imagine that you are opening a window to these other realities, inviting their parallel versions to talk to you. It's as if you're sending a signal back, saying, I'm here, ready to listen and learn. Little by little, you will notice that these signs become clearer, more frequent, as if the universe is responding to your call. What I find most beautiful about this is that there is no limit to what you can discover. Each version of you carries a part of your infinite potential, a part that already knows what you are still learning, that has already lived what you dream of. And the more you connect with them, the more you understand that your life isn't just what's happening now. It's a huge fabric full of threads that intersect in different realities. And you have the power to pull the threads you want, weaving the story you want to live.